AITA for telling my ex I don't care if her daughter is crying about being left behind when my son's with me. I, 27M, was in a relationship with my ex, 26F, for about 4.5 years. We met when we were young, around 20, and fell hard for each other. At the time, I thought she was the one. We had all those big, youthful dreams of building a future together, traveling the world, and starting a family. Looking back now, I see the cracks were always there, but when you're young and in love, you tend to ignore them. About 2 years into our relationship, we had our son, who is now 6. I'll admit, we weren't exactly planning on becoming parents so early, but when it happened, I committed. I wanted to be a great dad and partner, and I truly believed we could handle it together. For a while we did. Those early months were tough. Sleepless nights, endless diapers, the stress of being young parents. But they were also some of the happiest times of my life. Holding my son for the first time changed me in ways I can't even explain. But as our son grew, things between my ex and me started to unravel. She seemed distant, and communication became strained. We argued more, and I could feel her pulling away. At first, I chalked it up to the stress of parenting, but something in my gut told me there was more to it. I ignored the signs for a long time because I didn't want to believe our little family was in trouble. When she got pregnant again about 2 years after our son was born, I hoped it would be a turning point. Maybe having another baby would bring us closer and help us rediscover the bond we'd lost. But instead of feeling joy, I felt uneasy. Something wasn't right. The timelines didn't add up, and there was this nagging voice in the back of my head that told me to ask questions I didn't want to ask. Eventually, the truth came out. She had been cheating on me. I don't know how long it had been going on or how many people were involved, but the damage was done. When her daughter was born, I insisted on DNA tests for both kids. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, but I needed to know the truth. The results came back, and they confirmed what I suspected. My son was biologically mine, but her daughter wasn't. Seeing it on paper made it all feel so final. I remember sitting in my car after getting the results, just staring at the envelope and feeling this mix of relief, anger, and heartbreak. Relief that my bond with my son was real. Anger at my ex for betraying me and putting me in this position. Heartbreak for the life I thought we were building together that was now gone. We broke up shortly after that. I fought hard for 50-50 custody of my son because I wanted to be in his life as much as possible. My ex and her family begged me to stay involved with her daughter too. They argued that the kids deserved to grow up together and that I had already been a father figure to her during her pregnancy and early months. But I couldn't do it. It wasn't just about the betrayal, though that was a big part of it. It was also about boundaries. I knew I didn't have the emotional capacity to be a father to a child who wasn't mine, especially after everything that had happened. And honestly, I resented being put in that position in the first place. My ex made her choices, and I didn't think it was fair for me to bear the consequences of them. To be clear, I never went out of my way to be cruel or dismissive. I told my ex firmly, but politely, that I wouldn't be involved in her daughter's life. I documented everything in emails to make sure there was a clear record of our conversations, just in case it ever became an issue. For the most part, we settled into a routine. Custody exchanges were quick and businesslike, and I focused on being the best dad I could be to my son. But over the past year, things have started to escalate. My ex has been pushing harder and harder to get me to include her daughter in my life. She'll make comments during drop-offs about how her daughter misses me or how she wishes the kids could spend more time together. She's even sent me long text messages late at night, pleading with me to reconsider. She always frames it as being for the kids, but I know it's not really about them. The breaking point came a few weeks ago. We were doing a custody exchange at a local park, and she approached me while I was helping my son into the car. She was holding her daughter's hand, and I could tell she had been crying. She started talking about how much her daughter struggles whenever her brother leaves. She said her daughter cries and asks why she doesn't get to come with me. She said her little girl wants to run up and hug me, but doesn't because she knows I wouldn't be okay with it. She begged me to reconsider. She said, "I know I messed up, but she didn't choose this. Can't you see her as your son's sister and love her for his sake, if not for hers?" I won't lie. Hearing her say that hit me hard. I'm not some emotionless monster. I felt for her daughter. I really did. But at the same time, I knew I couldn't give my ex what she wanted. I've been clear about my boundaries from day one, and I wasn't going to let her guilt me into changing them. So I told her, as calmly as I could, that I didn't care. I said, I didn't make her daughter, and I'm not going to be responsible for raising her. You need to put that energy into finding her real father and leave me alone. Then I got in my car and drove away. Since then, things have blown up. Her sister DM'd me on social media, accusing me of being heartless and asking how I could turn my back on an innocent child. She said I was punishing the little girl for something that wasn't her fault. Then one of my ex's friends messaged me too, but her tone was a lot more aggressive. She called me misogynistic and claimed I wouldn't be acting this way if the child was another boy. That accusation floored me because it's completely untrue, but it still stung. Now I'm sitting here second-guessing everything. I've always believed that my boundaries were fair and necessary, but hearing people say these things makes me wonder if I'm being too cold. On one hand, I know I'm not responsible for my ex's mistakes, and I have every right to focus on my son. On the other hand, I feel terrible for her daughter. She's just a kid, and none of this is her fault. So, Reddit, AITA, should I have handled this differently? Or is it okay to stand my ground and prioritize my own mental and emotional well-being?